How's it going, everybody? My name is Artorigold, and today I'm going to be going over a Zenyatta game that I played on my Smurf account. This is going to be around the Platinum Gold level, and there's a pretty big notion that support is not able to carry games as much as you can carry as like on a DPS role, and I really don't think that's true. I think every role has the potential to carry the game, and you really just have to be playing it differently depending on what rank you're at. So something you'll notice that I do is I'll be very confident with the Zenyatta, and I'll make sure that I'll be aggressive. Zenyatta has the potential to do a lot of damage. I would say he's probably one of the, he's a DPS in disguise, and you're able to do a lot of damage, but also your Discord orb allows for your team to also deal more damage, which is something you should always take into consideration, because even if you're trying to keep Discord on one target, it might be better to look to use it on a target that your team is focusing on instead of a target that you're going to be hitting on instead, because the overall potential for your team to be able to do more damage is going to be better than just your damage and your focus on a Discord target right in front of you. For example, discording like a Mercy, so your Genji and Tracer and Winston can all jump on her, will be way better than if you're just going to be putting a, I don't know, your Discord orb on a tank that's right in front of you and nobody's hitting you. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go how he took this first point. So like I said before, you want to apply Discord orbs to usually applying your Discord orb to the things that your team is going to be hitting and focusing on the most. So for example, you got to look at our team comp. We have, I think, like no hit scan, right? And so something that we're going to do is, even though there's a Pharah and Mercy in the air, I'm not going to put my Discord orb on the Pharah too much because there's not many people on our team who could hit the Pharah. We have the Reinhardt and I think a Mei and a Brig and me, so, you know, not a whole lot of things that can hit her. So instead, I'm going to put my Discord orb on the people that are in front of us and people that are on the ground that we're able to reach, such as the Hammond. And then Mei is going to be able to freeze them, and we're going to be able to pick them up really easily. Okay, so we do actually have the Pharah, and she gets really close. And this is something that I think I'll go over like pretty often, but you basically want to have maximum right-click uptime. See, I don't even have Discord Orb applied to this Pharah, and yet you're still able to one-shot her. And this just is, I think that goes over the strength of what your right-click is on Zenyatta in general. The potential damage you can deal with a full right-click volley is insane. So immediately we have the advantage. We killed the Hammond, we killed the Pharah, so we're definitely up in numbers, and I see that our soldier, our McCree killed a soldier as well. So what I want to do here is I want to charge up my right clicks and peek every corner. So you notice I have my right clicks, and every time I go around a corner, I'm going to be charging up my volley, which is something that you want to do as Zenyatta every time. You don't want to just go look around a corner and not have a volley ready. That's just being unprepared. There's no reason for you not to charge a right click. This means, I think, a lot of people will be reloading like a lot of the time. I think as Zenyatta, I spend probably like almost the entire game charging up right clicks and canceling them with a kick. And then the other part of it, I'm probably just reloading. Like that's basically what you want to do as Zenyatta. You want to make sure that you're right clicking like 100% of the time you can right click whenever you're not in a fight. And here, I want to talk about that. So this is two different ways for me to play on Volskaya, right? There's a third one, but I don't think you should ever do that. So the first thing that you want to do, obviously, is you want to be going with your team and trying to be next to where they can peel for you. But I think at the lower ranks, you don't have to worry about that as much because I think you can take care of anybody who tries to dive you. If a Platinum or Gold Genji or Tracer are trying to dive you, I think you can take them. And I really am confident in you as a player, as Zenyatta, that you have the advantage over a Genji and Tracer who is in Platinum and lower. Now, as you get to Diamond and above, in those situations where you're getting dove on, I think you should probably look to get help from your team. In this case, you know, I think, you know, stick with your main healer, or if you have a Brig, stick next to the Brig, obviously. But just in general, stay next to somebody who can help heal for you. So when you're going over into this choke, I would say normally you would get a really good line of sight and you'd push here. But what I'm going to do is instead I'm going to get on the high ground. And the reason why I do this is because you get a really good line of sight of everything that's going on in this battle. And getting on the ground makes you more vulnerable to people that are going to try and shoot you. At this point, I think the Pharah swapped, but one of the things that I had in mind was a Pharah who'd be somewhere over here. and she would be shooting down at all of us, so I didn't want to be next to my team in that instance, but I think she swapped at this point. So anyways, I'm getting right in this face of this Hanzo, and instead of retreating, I'm just going to apply Discord, and because I had my volley, this is something you should always do in practice, as I'm going up this elevator, I already have a volley, which means I have this burst damage potential to one-shot anybody that's in range, and I can land all of them. And even if I don't land all of the orbs, I have a pretty high chance of being able to still just do enough damage to where I could Discord and melee to finish the target off too. So I'm going to just get as aggressive as possible. You have that full damage potential where you can really just mess them up and you don't have to worry about it. So here, you always want to focus on healing, like if you have an Ana on your team, focus on healing her, because one of the big problems with Ana is that she can't heal herself unless she uses her nade, and I think it's really important that she uses that nade to ante the enemy team, and you don't want to try and you don't want to try and make her waste that. It's better utilized on the enemy team and on tanks to heal them up rather than using it on herself to heal with the nade. So here, as you can tell, you can just get right into a Reinhardt's face and just start doing damage. It's really easy to take care of a Reinhardt as Zenyatta. So here as Zenyatta, what you should be doing is you want to go to somewhere where you know the enemy is going to be at a choke point, and you want to use your volley right at the main door and try to get a one-shot on some of them. Now, I wouldn't do this at the higher ranks. See, it works out very well for me because at the lower ranks, I don't think there's too much of a worry that they're going to kill you. But I'm going to go over this method and exactly what you want to do. But at certain ranks, eventually there's going to be people on the enemy team, who, mostly like Widowmakers, and the Widowmakers are going to be really good to the point where they're just going to shoot you in the face if you try to do this. And at that point, you don't want to go right at the spawn door. And it's also very dependent on the map. But if you're at a lower rank, I highly recommend that you do this to them. The only trick to this is you want to make sure to time it. So you see how I'm over here at this corner? The enemy team, their doors, they have no line of sight of me. They have no idea where I am, right? So they have no idea that I'm even attempting this. And so the key to the volley right click is right when it's at the 3-second. When it's at 3 seconds, that's when you want to go ahead and start your right click, and then you are able to unload it. It's perfect timing every time as long as you start out at 3 seconds. So I start it right around 3, a little bit behind 3, that's okay, and then you just do it right when the door opens. It doesn't work at higher ranks as well as it does at lower ranks, because I feel like people at lower ranks definitely don't expect a Zenyatta to do this, to walk up to a door and get a right click. I mean, it's clear as day what the advantages of that are, right? You get a full kill at the early part of the game. So here is another thing that I want to talk about. See, notice how I didn't push that Pharah. So this Pharah took all of her time to try and do the long flank. But here's one thing about Zenyatta, right there. I won the fight, and that's all I need to do. Right there, I just won that fight for him, and all I did was apply Discord and Harmony. So now the Pharah is taking additional damage, and my McCree is receiving extra heals. Already, that is a 1v1 situation, but Pharah has the disadvantage now because of debuff, and McCree has a huge advantage because he's doing more damage to her, but also at the same time is receiving healing. I mean, the healing on Zenyatta is not the greatest, but it's definitely going to keep him alive so he wins the 1v1. So as you notice, I'm not even going to push over there, right? Because he wins it so easily, and that's what Zenyatta is all about. He's basically just about creating advantages for your team and creating disadvantages for the enemy team. And all you need to focus on with Zenyatta is just staying alive. That's basically what your goal is. So here, you're going to try and get in a good line of sight. So you notice here, I have they actually completely ignore me. And this is just a really good, easy, like, funnel. The enemy team is just kind of getting to one narrow choke point right here. And it's really easy for you to land all of your orbs as long as you stay in a line of sight that's straight like this. And the enemy team doesn't have any wiggle room, so they can't avoid it or dodge it or anything like that. So again, I think one of the more important things with Zenyatta is you always want to have maximum Discord uptime and maximum Harmony uptime. It's really unfortunate that Pharah got me right there, but you know, people make mistakes even in the games like this. You'll see I will die in this game. I will make mistakes, and I will try to go over everything so we can learn from it. So here I'm going to get back and spawn, and I'm going to go ahead and get aggressive with the monkey. I think a lot of the times you can get really aggressive with Winston. It depends on the situation and where he puts his bubble. But you could really beat a Winston in a 1v1 some of the times. It really depends at the range of it. So here, I'm going to try and contest the Hammond. One thing to take note of Zenyatta is that you have blue shields, right? So you notice here that I have 50 white health, which will not be recoverable unless I get healed or buy a health pack. And then I have 150 blue shields, which is a huge advantage, but also a disadvantage in some ways. Pros and cons, right? The biggest pro of having the blue shields is that it can recover naturally. So in a way, it's kind of like, it's like you're healing yourself in a way. When you're healing yourself with your blue shields, you like naturally over time, it kind of promotes this peaking attitude. Like if you watch this, how I'm taking this fight, right? What I'm doing is I know the Hammond's low, right? I got him to just like a little bit of HP, but I'm down to 52. But one thing that I can do that the Hammond can't is that I can heal myself naturally over time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around this truck, and at the same time as I'm healing my shields naturally, I'm also going to be doing right-click volleys, which is a really good way. This is a mistake that I made. It's half mistake, by the way. I think I could have won this fight, because here I recovered my shields. Before he started to fight me, I already recovered up to, I think, 100. I got the 96. And he has a good amount of health, but I think I recovered enough health to the point where I could have used my I could have probably killed him and saved my Transcendence. It was kind of a risk, right? So he got me to what? He got me to like 60 health, and at that point I used Transcendence. So the good thing about the Transcendence usage is that it guarantees my safety. So that's something to take note with your Transcendence usage. So things you want to do with Transcendence. You want to use them to ideally save your team, but mostly in situations where you can completely cancel enemy ults. For example, your ult completely cancels out the damage coming from a Genji blade unless it's nanoed. If it's nanoed, the Genji can kill you if he's good enough because he can just time the dash and slash at the exact same time. That doesn't matter. Or if it's a Hanzo Dragon Strike, you can heal through all the damage of that. So Transcendence usage you can also just use to try and stay alive. See, and this is why it was a mistake, because here I could have used Transcendence. I mean, I am at 76% to my ult. I was able to farm my ult charge rather quickly, but I could have saved it for the blade. So ultimately, I think that Transcendence was kind of a greedy play. I was kind of using it in mind to keep myself alive, which I think is good. In a lot of instances, it's better to just use Transcendence, and even if it's not like the Transcendence that you want, it's better to use it to stay alive if you're about to die, in order to just try and reposition yourself and heal your team for a few seconds, and then reposition yourself afterwards to like a location where you could start healing your team and doing damage from a better spot. So here, I'm just using Transcendence to get back to the point and heal the people that are really low on it. I'm going to go ahead and discord the Hammond because I think the monkey with 1,000 health is just a little too difficult to try and deal with. But here, this is something that I feel like I should have lived right there. I think I missed the health pack. Oh, wait, no, did I get the health pack? There's the health pack. Somebody came in and stole that from me. It was the Moira. Whose Moira is this? That's my Moira. The Moira that I'm healing with my Harmony Orb. She took the health pack from me. Moira! How dare you! I'm actually in shock. So let's go over what happened here. So I think this play was really good. I was going to the Mega Health Pack room, and I think the Mega Health Pack on Volskaya Industries is extremely valuable to get. What I wasn't expecting, however, though, is the Moira that I'm actually healing right now. You can see my Harmony Orb is on her. She's actually gonna take the Mega Health Pack from me. Look at this. See right here, the Moira gets full health, and as you can see, I didn't get it, and the health pack is gone now. Moira, you stole that health pack from me. My Moira should have been fine because she had my Harmony Orb, and honestly, I think I would have been fine if she was able to left-click heal me, but that's unfortunate. Alright, so this is going to be one of those 2 CP games. I think everybody's had those kind of 2 CP games where you capture really quickly and then the enemy team does the exact same thing. We're doing a little bit better. We got like 2 more minutes which is good, but we still kind of could do better, right? So like I was doing last time, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be just waiting, but not showing myself, and I'm going to right click right around the 3-second timer. But the thing I am doing differently this time is I am going to a different spawn door. As you notice, there's 2 different spawn doors. There's the number 1, and then there's the number 2. I think most people are going to go to this one, and then some people are going to go here, and then nobody ever goes here. Only villains do that. Nobody goes there. So this is something you just wait right around that 3-second timer. As you see, I start right clicking, and then I'm going to peek. Unfortunately, I didn't get much success on that one, but that's okay. You have to look at the risk versus reward, and the reward is much higher than the risk when you do things like that, depending if they're playing a Widowmaker. Now, if the enemy team had a Widowmaker, then doing that kind of play is risky, and I don't recommend it. So here, I'm looking at that flank because I know the Pharah on the enemy team did the exact same thing last game, so I'm going to go ahead and try and contest her a little bit, and then I hit her, I think, like once or twice maybe, and then I'm just going to go ahead and focus on some other things. So, for example, if I get the Discord on her and the Harmony of my McCree, then he's going to be able to win that fight. Unfortunately, the Pharah got that time. Oh man, she got away just like with 1 HP. So pushing a Pharah who's 1 HP is a very confident and aggressive move, and I really like it because as you can see, look at the Pharah right here. She has no idea that she just shot a rocket and she's looking this way. She has no idea that this is about to happen, right? I mean, how many times are you going to expect a Zenyatta to just come right up behind you, flank you, be a little flank Yatta, right? And then just right-click with a volley. It's something that a lot of people don't expect. I mean, look at this Pharah. She was completely oblivious. She had no idea that I was going to do that. And that's what I'm talking about with Zenyatta. You have to take advantage of that because people are not going to expect, not only are they not going to expect you to flank like that, and personally, I wouldn't flank all the time as Zenyatta, but I think in a situation like that, that's a really good flank. And when you have something like that, then you can just charge up a right click slowly, and then as you do that, you're able to just, you know, get up into the range where the orbs are just always going to hit her, and then you can just finish her off. So I'm going to go ahead and try to save my teammate here. I think your Harmony Orb just helps you, even if your Harmony Orb isn't like the best healing in the world, it's basically like this gigantic advantage in any 1v1 fight, right? It's a shame I revealed myself a little bit too quickly there, because if the Moira was being like standing still like that, I probably would have had a good chance at being able to kill her there. So that was a missed opportunity. So here I'm going to try and, this is the thing about the Winston. So in this situation, you can beat a Winston as long as he doesn't have his bubble and you land all of your shots with the Discord Orb on him. And if there's potential you to get even more damage on him with your right click before he gets out of the bubble, if you like time it really well, you can usually beat Winstons. So if you're about to die in a situation like that, of course you want to use Transcendence. I mean, I was about to get hit by a Doomfist ult. Quick little thing about Doomfist ult, you can't outrun it as Zenyatta. There is nothing you can do. If he puts that on top of you, the only way you're getting out of that is if like Zarya bubbles you or something, right? So Transcendence is really good there too, because my Reinhardt was like 1 HP. So that actually worked out really nicely. You want to concentrate on using Transcendence to try and heal people through damaging abilities, damage ultimates, but using it to heal a person with like 1 HP is always acceptable too. Just to be able to get them to like max health really quickly and save them from the brink of death, you know? Especially if you don't have like burst healing. If you don't have like an Ana or something, that's also really good. If you're running like a Moira who's just like slow but very consistent DPS, then it's very acceptable. Here what you can do is you can try to right click the door some of the times. I think it's a really aggressive play, but I really like it because we just won the fight and there's no way anybody is going to be killing me there unless they had a Widow. But again, the enemy team hasn't had a Widow all game, and that's something that you'll notice. Like, you'll be like, oh, okay, they don't have a Widowmaker player, so I can make these risky plays. And that's the only person I'm worried about. If they had a Hanzo, I would probably be a little bit worried too. I'm worried about one-shot potential. So here, when a Pharah's, I think it's always a very dead giveaway when a Pharah's about to barrage, And whenever you see a Pharah that's not all the way up here, and you're like, okay, she's kind of getting a little closer to the ground here, I think she's probably going to have a barrage. And whenever you see a Pharah who's not all the way up into the sky, that's usually a giveaway that she's going to be moving in to try and get closer rockets, or she's going in for a barrage. So what you always want to do in these instances is you want to Discord orb her and then call it out in team chat and let your team know that she's going for barrage. And Zenyatta is really powerful at getting rid of barrages because she's standing still. Your projectile has a really big like hitbox. You can get like her head pretty easily when she's standing still. And with a Discord orb on her and she's not moving, it's very easy to just take her out. And same thing with Ana. If Ana lands asleep on somebody, you're amazing. Just Discord that target and then volley, and you can take it out and you don't have to worry about backup from anybody. Even if you're not able to land like your projectile shots early on as Zenyatta, I think all you need to do is really just play the hero and practice it nonstop. One of the things I think is really smart for players to do is to decide if they want to concentrate on projectile or if they want to concentrate on hit scan, because there is a really big difference between playing Soldier, Widow, and McCree and then playing projectile like Pharah, Mei, and Zenyatta and stuff like that. So being a projectile player myself, I don't play hit scan too often. I like to focus on projectile because you really just have this kind of like muscle memory, I guess is the best way to put it. Your aiming is always so different because hitting hit scan is literally all you're doing is trying to hit their actual body where they are at the present. But with the projectile, you're always trying to lead your shots and predicting where the enemy is going to move in order to hit them with it. And that's something that every projectile has in common. And so I think if you're going to play a character, or in general, if you're trying to find a hero pool, like a group of characters that you want to try and commit to and play, I would focus those characters on being all projectile or all hit scan, because it'll really help with this like muscle memory. Because I've noticed that with aiming in general, it's much easier to aim if you're focusing on one of those two things. So that's really surprising that he pushed me right there, by the way. Almost nobody goes that far into that part of the map. So like, for example, if you're trying to play Zenyatta, I think good hero pools for you is like Orisa for tank, because Orisa has that projectile and it's really kind of similar to Zenyatta aiming. And obviously characters like Pharah and Mei with her right click are very similar to Zenyatta. Hanzo as well is a really good projectile to pick up. So in those instances, I think it's really good to try and just focus on one or the other. So here we're definitely cleaning the fight up really nicely, and I'm going to go ahead and play aggressively with Zenyatta. And Zenyatta doesn't really have mobility, so what you want to do is you want to be smart about where you position yourself, and you have to depend, and depends on what you're doing in the game. In this example, I'm going to be going kind of at a flank and on the high ground. Now this is a really good area to take a Zenyatta. Being on the high ground really makes it difficult for the enemy to shoot at you unless there are a Widowmaker or some sniper or a character with mobility on their team, and we really don't have to worry about it here. We kind of won the game already, but in those situations, getting a high ground position like that is really beneficial to Zenyatta because it lowers the chance of the enemy team reaching you, especially if they have low mobility characters like a Mei. A Soldier isn't going to be able to get to you, a McCree won't be able to. They'll be able to hit you up there, but you also have the advantage of like just backing up into a space where you're out of line of sight or something, and then you don't have to worry about it. So overall, the things I think you need to take away from this is when playing Zenyatta at lower ranks, you want to be confident and you want to be aggressive. You want to use your Discord orb not on the target that is like what you're trying to focus on, but rather what your team is focusing on. So focus on using your Discord orb on targets that your teammates call out. For example, if your Genji or Winston is diving a squishy, try to put your Discord and prioritize putting it on that target so they will just get melted by Winston's lightning gun. The enemy will go down quickly if you are able to do that. Put your Harmony Orb on flankers and squishy targets and your secondary healer more than your tanks. And your Harmony Orb is like this great tool because I think especially in this meta where there's Ana, it's difficult because Ana takes a lot of skill to aim with her left clicks, and it's very difficult for an Ana to maybe hit like a Genji on your team or a Tracer because they're smaller, they move around really quickly, and it's, you know, it's a little bit more difficult to heal them. So focus using your Harmony Orb on them first, so your Ana doesn't have to worry about trying to aim at them, and instead she could focus on healing the tanks that are slow and bigger hitboxes and are definitely what like the Ana wants to try and hit with their heal first. Anyways, these are some things that I would really recommend you guys doing if you're a diamond below. Be aggressive, be confident, make sure to take 1v1s. I think you'll be able to win in most situations. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.